Hey, Purpose Chasers, big news. Doors are officially open for the brand new Pillar Mastery. If you've ever felt stuck or like your personal goals are always on the back burner, this is your moment. Pillar Mastery is a transformational program that uses my proven 6 Pillars of Wealth framework to help you align your vision, create momentum, and finally start seeing results. Now, who is this for? Ambitious individuals who want to balance success with well-being. And guess what? If you join before January 26th, you'll unlock exclusive live bonuses, including deep dive workshops and Q&A sessions with me. Don't miss your chance to elevate your life in 2025. Head to pillarmastery.com for all the details. That's pillarmastery.com. Let's master your pillars together.
It doesn't have to be January 1st or Friday or the weekend or vacation for you to reset and rise, right? We can shift our mindsets on any day.
I'm Patrice Washington, and this is the Redefining Wealth podcast, where authenticity leads to alignment and abundance. Join us each week as we peel back the layers on what wealth truly means and dive into conversations that inspire, connect, and empower you to live your richest life. Get ready to challenge the status quo. It's time to redefine wealth for yourself. You're listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington, and I'm so happy about being back for yet another episode. All week, I have been highlighting our amazing clients from Pillar Mastery, and today is no different. I get to introduce you to Tiffany Yvonne. She is so brilliant. I get to follow her on LinkedIn, and I'm just going to tell you right now, you want to go follow her on LinkedIn because she's so inspiring and motivating. She helps busy, ambitious women and a few good men. See, we always think about y'all. Turn burnout into breakthroughs and trade the daily battle for their next bold move. She is an inspiring coach. She's a media personality. I've been seeing that more on her page as well. A mom, a leader, and she is a purpose chaser. Welcome, Tiff Yvonne.
Hey. So happy to be here. So happy to be here.
I'm so happy for you to be here. Okay, so let me start with this. How did you first learn of me and or Redefining Wealth?
On Instagram.
Really?
I think I knew of you in your money maven days. But then when you started talking about chasing purpose, I was like, oh, she speaks my language. I like this. Let me go follow. So yeah, Instagram.
Now it's so funny because right before we started recording, we were saying like, okay, we're trying to live more in alignment. We don't pay bills with purpose, but we want to live more in alignment, but that still requires money, right? So when you found Pillar Mastery then, well, let me just ask you, what made you say yes to Pillar Mastery at that time?
You know what? So I followed you for years before I hopped into Pillar Mastery, and just cursory. And one day though, you offered a beginning of the year check-in. I think you have one coming up soon.
Yeah.
And so although I had been following loosely, I had never experienced you. And then I came to the New Year kickoff and I was like, oh, this is my crowd. I'm coming. I'm in. I'm on it. All the things. So I think that's the one thing where you can follow a bunch of people and it's like, oh, nice, click, like. But when you just actually get to experience your essence and your vibe, and it just was really aligned with me. And so it was a no-brainer. I was in.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you. I remember you in Pillar Mastery. There was just so much going on, right? And you are a coach. And I remember you saying to me, like, I'm a coach's coach. I think since you said that to me, I've been like, yeah, I am a coach's coach. Like, I do receive that. A lot of the women that I have coached are indeed coaches. What, as a coach who already knows so many of the things and you leverage so many of these tools in your own business, why did you feel like getting coached in that season was necessary for you?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you are a coach, there can be a lot of shame around, I know this stuff, like, why can't I apply this stuff? I think really a testament to our own work is recognizing that every coach needs a coach, right? Every great player, whether it's in the NBA or NFL or anywhere else, has a coach. So just because you're amazing doesn't mean that you should not align yourself with someone to provide support. And I was honestly going through like a personal, like, shedding and phoenix rising and all the things on the inside. And so I think for me, what was most important, that I needed to be coached by someone I could trust. I needed to be coached by someone whose story I could relate to, someone who was vulnerable. And there were so many parallels in our story in terms of real estate and, money. And I'm an accountant, but, those sorts of things that I was just like, oh, like God sent her.
Yeah. God sent her. I love that. Yeah, I agree with you. I used to say I don't really trust a coach that doesn't have a coach. Like, I feel like to play pro, to go pro, to play at your A game, you will always need some type of coaching. Like, you always need someone to help you look at those blind spots and the things that you may be missing. When they say you can't see the forest for the trees, sometimes things are right in front of our face, and we just need, I feel like with you just needed someone to say the tough things and just say it. Because I feel like whenever we work together, like on Spotlight Coaching or anything, you were always like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, just to say it and to like you said, like whether it's the weeds or just like to helicopter up a little bit, because even, we're still human as coaches, so we can get stuck in the weeds and forget about the basics because they're basic. So like one of the things that you really helped me with was just conquering my space. I would make such excuses, because that's another thing coaches are really good at, or at least me. Like,
oh, we can intellectualize. Yeah.
Yes. So I used to be like, Einstein had a messy desk, just means I'm a genius. And you like, girl, clean up your space, because your space is embodying, like that feeling. And I was just like, I don't want to clean up. And then I started, and like I have a cleaning person, but it'd be dirty the next day or week. And so that really helped me realize this is internal. And when I take the time to just like pause and clean this space, I'm actually cleaning up this space. And so it was just all good things.
I remember too, on that note that we talked about, like, and letting your kids help, like allowing yourself to be supported as well. Cause I think that's another thing with people who are coaches or leaders in their own right. It's hard for us to accept support, especially when we're not quote unquote paying for it, which I think is so weird. It's like when we are not paying for it, we feel like we're burdening people, or we're not the fun parent, or we're not the cool parent, or whatever. And so then we don't actually ask for the support that we need, even from people that we love.
Yeah. And other Black mamas would be like, what you mean you ain't asking your kids for help? But for me, there was so much, I was divorced. And so I think there was so much like mom guilt around, like, I want to be the parent that's liked, or I want to be the parent that is not making them do things that is a mess that we all created. Or our schedules were so busy. So it almost felt like the fatigue I have, they probably have also. And really just the pattern interrupt was, well, then they're going to have houses that look like this too. They're going to have cleaning people, and 2 days later, it's going to be dirty too. So what type of adults do you want them to be? And that really helps me just lean into it and say like, okay, this is a change that we're all making together. It's going to make us all feel better. And it's been working.
Good, good. Okay, so what other pillar outside of space pillar did you feel like you made good progress in?
It was really hard for me to like listen to the rule or the suggestion, the invitation to go one pillar at a time, because I want to be like just like all in the mix. But I would say the other one that really was impactful was the fitness pillar. I work out, but I'm notorious for trying to outrun a bad diet. Like, I'm from Chicago. I want Harold's Chicken and Giordano's, right? And it's just like, well, is that actually in line with your truest self? And so the exercise that you did actually in that kickoff event, but we talked about it a lot in Pillar Mastery, was like, what are you willing to lose to be and to get, the life that you desire? And so the fitness pillar was really instrumental for me in just being more consistent and recognizing that if I want these knees to work, 20 years from now, then maybe the treadmill is not the answer, but figuring out exactly what I'm putting in my mouth and how that aligns.
Oh, has that been something that you've kept up?
It has. It has. I'm making sure I'm getting my greens in. So now I'm gonna still have some chicken and pizza from time to time, but it's not. It's no longer the like, oh, I'm missing out, or oh, I have to eat this way. It's like I get to in order to support my goals.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and one thing that I've seen you do, and I don't know how much of this you were doing before, but one thing that I've gotten to see since you've been on my radar is how much media you've been doing. Is that more recent? Is that the last year or so?
So I've done media for many years in different realms of my ways of working because they've also changed over the years. But what I have done more is to put it out there. So I have a bi-monthly spot on the local NBC affiliate. And so I would go and I would do it. It'd be a hoopla for the day, but really using that and showcasing the work that I'm doing so my clients know and my prospects know has definitely been a shift.
So why do you think you were hiding that before?
I don't know if I thought it was braggadocious or if I thought it wasn't good enough. Like I would do a spot and people would rave, and then I would be, but look at my hair right here, or I should have set up taller, or I should have done this. And that's another thing Pillar Master really helped me with, is just like to be more kind to Tiff. Like you don't have to be perfect. It's fine. People love it. And really just for me to love it. I think maybe that's bigger than all of it. I started to look at myself through a different lens. I started to be less nitpicky with myself. And so I think that's really been the push to just like, girl, put it out there. It's amazing. You're amazing.
Yeah. I think the thing about pillar mastery and just having a framework to look at things through, regardless, is it helping you fall in love with all the parts of you, like all these parts of you, clear out the stuff that doesn't serve you. But then what's left is like, yeah, I like this. I'm in a space that I like, that I love, that gives me energy, that makes me feel good. Like I'm in a relationship that I like, that I love, that makes me feel good, that gives me energy. I'm doing things for my body that I like, that I love. Like by the time you start to do that in every part of your life, yeah, even the things that seem like imperfections or flaws, it's still a part of us.
Yeah, you know what else I will say? Maybe that's the biggest thing that Pillar Mastery did for me. My relationships, I would hold on to people and I would have so much hope in people. And I would just be like, not necessarily fixing, but definitely romanticizing the potential of people, relationships, clients, all the things. And it really helped me take a cold, hard look at like, where are you holding on to things that you really could let go, people that you really could let go, and not have the scarcity that everything is going to fall apart when you do. And when I did that, all the other pillars could make more sense, could be more easily implemented because I wasn't, so tied to this attachment to other folks.
Yeah. Because when you release the attachment to other folks, you also start to release the attachment to the opinions of other folks. And when you start to release the opinions of other folks, now you can start to get to, what do I authentically want to do? How do I authentically want to show up? Whether people like it or not, whether they praise it or not.
No, seriously. And even in my own, I do executive coaching for leaders, women in leadership in particular, also women entrepreneurs. And I just started to actually have to say, like, well, you're helping all of these people unlock and unblock. You got to do the same thing. And not that I wasn't, because I was in some ways, but that consistency. And we talked about that before we hopped on, like, don't just do it in the ways that are visible. Don't just do it in the ways, when you're in the media or when you're in front of a client or with your kids, but how can you consistently apply that to your own peace, to your own joy?
Yeah, it's that private consistency. Like
Yes.
what other people get to experience of us, the essence that they get to, absorb is really rooted in what we do privately, consistently. I always say that I want my countenance to be a reflection of my consistency. So I don't have to tell you, oh, I pray all the time, or oh, I work out all the time, or oh, that you are in my presence. And you're like, she give me an energy that says she about that life.
Seriously. And I think another thing was just being able to see myself how other people see me. one thing that is very new that I started doing is just asking for recommendations or feedback from the work that I provided to people, and to have that be visible so that it wasn't just, me showing. And when I would start to read those recommendations, I was just like, she is powerful. And I think clearing my physical space, as odd as it may seem to some people, but clearing my physical space allowed me to like pause, really cast my vision, and then say, okay, let me reach out to people who I've worked with and let them pour in. I kind of thought of it initially as like, this is for marketing, but it was so much more for me. It was so much more for me.
It always is. It always is so much more than just that. Because we have to really feel it and believe it first. You know that feeling when you're chasing big dreams, but deep down, it feels like something's off. Like ambition is pulling you one way, but your vision for the life you really want is somewhere else entirely. That's exactly why I created Pillar Mastery, to help you make ambition aligned with what truly matters. This is your chance to join a self-paced, on-demand program where you will gain lifetime access to the proven 6 Pillars of Wealth framework. It will help you balance success and well-being while moving towards your biggest goals. And here's the game changer. If you say yes now, you will unlock exclusive live bonuses available only through January 26th. It includes deep dive workshops, live Q&As with me to fine-tune your roadmap for 2025, and our brand new Pillar Progress Assessment. This is a powerful tool that takes just 15 minutes to complete. It'll give you your exact score for each pillar, show you what you need to do next, and highlight the 5 building blocks that need your attention the most. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start creating aligned momentum, head to Pillar Mastery now. Don't wait. Your next level is waiting. That's pillarmastery.com. Let's master your pillars together. Okay, so how has participating in Pillar Mastery, just being in the community, I got to hug you for myself at Redefining Wealth Live, which was so special. You're just a ball of energy, by the way. Like, you're just a ball of good vibes. You really are. Speaking of that, how did you feel about being in community? Had you been kind of a lone ranger before?
I tend to stay in some sort of professional development community. But from a personal development, I think I'm usually the one that's like running the show. So the communities have been the ones that I created. It felt great to just be a part of the community, to not have to run the show, to pass you that baton, right? Let you do that well and just participate. It was so great. I remember when I first joined, there was a Chicago meetup, and I was like, oh, this is fancy. They got meetups in different cities. They got meetup in my city. This is amazing. And Whitney was the person who was the ambassador for Chicago.
Yeah.
It was just cool to have like some Chi-Town energy in this Atlanta by way of LA sort of thing going on. It made me feel, like, oh, I'm part of something that's happening across the nation. And this is so impactful to just see this work spread. And so I had not been in community in that way, maybe ever.
Yeah, I love that. I know how good it feels, though, to be able to take your cape off, take your mask off, and not have to be the one to lead and answer everyone's question and show up for everybody else. What I really appreciated about you being in Pillar Mastery is that you allowed yourself to be vulnerable. Like, you allowed yourself to be coached. You allowed yourself to really do the work, which is really huge because, like you said, you're the person who typically holds the space, curates the space, does all the things. And it's a lot to let go of that so that you can get some of the support that you need. So I do have to commend you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, y'all got these tears.
We did. We did. I'm gonna tell y'all now. I done seen Tiffany Yvonne ugly cry. Okay, I done seen her ugly cry in the name of healing, though, and it's so good to see you smiling.
Yeah, and just to like release it and to have a safe space to release it and to know. I mean, honestly, I'm picky. I'm picky about who I share my life with. So I chose you, and I'm grateful for you. And I remember when I hugged you at Redefining Wealth Live, and I was like, I grew so much. And you were like, you did? And I was like, yeah, like you have no clue on like just the amount of spaciousness that it created. And I love like the way that I was able to make quick shifts. And I think that had I just been in the, the general community, that's also amazing, but I needed to be led. And so you just provided that, and I'm just forever grateful.
Oh, I'm forever grateful. So, what are you doing these days in your coaching business? How are you working with people?
Two ways of working, really. My main thing is working in corporate spaces. So I design and deliver trainings for corporate leaders who lead other people to help them work better with their teams, disrupt burnout, build trust, and navigate change with more ease. There's so much change happening in the corporate landscape. And it's just my firm belief that people deserve to be happier at work, that you can find joy on the job. And that's idea that's so foreign to people that I almost can't lead with that. But the teams that I've been able to work with and the way that I've been able to lift the burden for particularly women leaders who are leading teams that might be high pressure because they're high performance has just really been impactful. So that's the bulk of my work, just a bunch of culture development and leadership development in the corporate space. My heart, though, is always with the people. And so I do not like to constrain myself to only going to work in the corporate spaces that can afford to bring me in. And so for 2025, I'm doing, call them like play days. You said I'm full of energy, but I call them like reset and rise. And so the idea is really that it doesn't have to be January 1st or Friday or the weekend or vacation for you to reset and rise, right? We can shift our mindsets on any day of the year. And so these are going to be curated play days where we come together and really like design our lives. And it's not about starting from scratch, but it's like taking what you have and then reimagining what success really means. And so those days, I feel like all my work fuels my soul, but those days I feel like I'm going to really be able to get in there and dig deep with some powerful women so they can go back and be better at work, at home, and within. So,
Oh, that sounds so fun. Are these one-on-ones or are these like small groups?
small groups. So they're going to be, I'm toying with doing some on like online, but for the most part, to start out, like they're going to be in person in Chicago.
Love it. Chicago Purpose Chasers and anyone who can get there, y'all need to get there. You talked about disrupting burnout as a part of what you do. And just while I have you, from your perspective, what are some of the reasons that more women are burning out these days?
I think perfectionism is the number one reason. We are so baked into getting it exactly right, doing it right, saying the right things, being the right type of mom. Like it puts us in a space where we're performing. It has us chasing a goal that is not obtainable. And because it's not obtainable, then we're always on that hamster wheel or that rat race of trying to reach a goal that we'll never get to. So we're wearing ourselves out. The other thing I would say, perfectionism is the mother of procrastination. So because we're stuck in that perfectionism, then we wait on our goals, we wait on our dreams, we wait, and now we're mad, right? At ourselves and everybody else around us. And then the last one I'd say is overthinking. So just, not having that self-trust and really either needing the opinions of everyone to agree with us or just thinking about it so long that we don't take action. And that's also why I love, and look, I can't wait. It's not happening for me this year, but I can't wait to join Mastering Momentum at some point in the near future, because what I love about it is not just the mastery, but the momentum. I say like, we think that like anxiety is just in our heads, but it really comes from our inability to take action. So that momentum piece, I think is just really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for you to come to Mastery Momentum. That's going to be so good. I'm really excited about how this cohort is shaping up and the acceleration that we're going to see during this time. But oh, I agree with you that overthinking. I think what I love hearing about what you're working on and with this reset and rise concept and is that you are thinking about it. You said you were toying with it, but you also sound very certain of what it looks like. That idea of like giving yourself permission to just move forward with the vision because you're not held up with perfectionism. You're not held up with like, oh, I need to have it all figured out before I even say anything. Like just in this episode and just someone hearing you, there's someone who's in Chicago or is fine with getting to Chicago who's like, let me DM her because when the details come out, I want to know what it is. If you didn't say anything because you were waiting for, well, let me not say that because I don't have every little detail. That's the thing. I think that tears people up. I am the queen of this is what I'm thinking about and allowing that to guide because ultimately, first of all, I don't have to waste a lot of time building something that nobody wants.
Absolutely.
Number one. And then number two, I feel like it's so important to demonstrate to the audience that it's okay to be figuring it out. Like it's okay unless you're creating something that is a medical device where you can't experiment like on people. Most of us and what we're doing in the world, there's an opportunity for you to experiment. There's an opportunity for you to put out a 1.0. There's an opportunity to do a beta. And the more you get to know yourself, remove all the clutter, remove all the noise of everybody else and everything else, and love yourself and know I can be awesome and a hot ass mess at the same time. And I'm still lovable and I can still put something out there and see if it sticks and see if people want it and see how I can tweak it. That is freedom. To me, that is so liberating. That is such an aligned way to live versus like, oh, I have to wait until I have all this data and all this research. And the proof is in the people. If the people don't come, then you know.
That's it. It's so real. It's so real. I live through songs, so I'm like, don't be down with OPP and like it's like overthinking, perfectionism, and procrastination. Like, don't be down with OPP. And also, just to what you were when you were speaking, what came up for me, and I always tell people like Beyonce had House of Darion before there was ever Ivy Park. Right. So we just got to really put things out perfectly imperfect and know that the people who are meant to come will. And, you know, I won't pretend like this is like a 2025 idea. This is probably something I've been toying with for a really long time. But I think you even said this before, like when it is part of your purpose, it's going to keep calling. It don't just stop because you ignore it, right? It's going to keep calling. And so, and we don't have time on this episode, but you know, I've gone through a number of career transitions. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, but I've done a number of different things in that time frame. And really, I started doing the corporate work because I needed a solid financial base, and it just happened to fill my soul. But my deepest passion is with the, you know, individual women leaders who are ready to take control and design their lives instead of just living by default. And so, yeah, this is happening. I'm excited for it.
It's happening. And the beautiful thing is you can hold space for both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can design whatever you want to design and hold space for both. And I'm excited for you. I'm really excited for you. And I do cheer for you. Every time you come up on my LinkedIn, one of my goals is to be better with LinkedIn this year. LinkedIn has been like the little stepchild of the social media family for me. Not that because I love my bonus children, so I shouldn't even say it that way, but you get the saying, the reference.
I get it.
And so I've been more deliberate about consistently going there every couple days and just checking in, checking my inbox, all the things. And I tell you, every time I go, I know I'm going to see a Tiffany Yvonne post. I'm going to see a something. And it just makes me so happy to see you showing up. And even if you're sharing things that were older, I don't know. Like I wouldn't know it at all. But you're doing a really great job of positioning yourself in that space, but also just of highlighting how talented you are, even in media. I think it's really great. And I always get so excited to see it. You know, I have a soft spot for media, so I always love to see it. So if anyone is thinking about Pillar Mastery and they're a coach and they're not certain about whether they could be safe in a space like this, what would you tell them?
Oh, I mean, for me, it's just a no-brainer. And it is a safe space. And I guess the other thing is you get to feel both buckets because in Pillar Mastery, I was able to be coached, right? Also, I was still able to coach within my group. So when we would have moments to share and connect, your gift doesn't go away. And then you're not shied away from doing that. So I was still able to impact others. And I think the most valuable part, and I don't know, we'd have to hear from other people, but of me being there was, oh, she's a coach. and she still feels these things. And so that gave them maybe like the permission to know that like, this for life. We got to do this for life. It's not like it necessarily goes away, and there's no one who's exempt from it. And I think that's the other thing that really drew me to you, because you also share very transparently, right? Being a coach doesn't mean it's all fixed. Yeah, I say get in there. If you're looking for someone who can lead you and you can really be authentic in the space and have some fun, right? Then it's the place to be.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And yes, I am always saying, I'm not here to be the guru. I do see myself as a guide, and I see myself as someone who curates a space where we can do life together, where we can work through things together. And I'm always sharing from my own practices, my own experience. And the thing is, reiteration is real. Like, you have to keep taking yourself through the same processes. You have to use the same tools. You have to revisit the same prompts, the same thing. Because doing it in January 2023, what does that have to do with January 2025? You're a whole new person. So you have to keep revisiting the things. And that's what I love about being a teacher and a coach and a guide, is that it's public accountability. So as I'm sharing these things, I'm also reviewing these things. I'm putting the same things in process, and we just continue to do it together. And what came out of the same exercise 2 weeks ago is not going to come out of that exercise today. So I pray that, what we do in Pillar Mastery is give you all tools, the same tools that I use, so that whenever you're feeling out of alignment or it's like something is off, you can go, let me look at this. Let me revisit these pillars. Let me see what's going on here. And you have that for life.
Yep. And you go back to the foundation and you just use it again. We didn't learn how to walk in a day. We didn't learn how to tie our shoes in a day. And somehow when it comes to our lives, we think it's just supposed to happen in an instant or happen by magic. Like, no, these things require practice. And so having the pillars as a foundation is just, going home.
Well, Tiffany Yvonne, I'm so glad that you came in closer from just liking and scrolling on Instagram. It was an honor to have you in Pillar Mastery. It will be an honor to have you in Mastery Momentum. But as a purpose chaser at large, it is just so good to see you doing your thing and always cheering for you, praying for you, and encouraging you to stay aligned.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
So to everyone listening, the doors to Pillar Mastery are now open. We are so excited to invite you in. If you are a coach, I hope you are inspired by Tiffany Yvonne. I mean, look her up on LinkedIn. She is the bomb. And I mean, I'm the bomb and I have a coach, and my coach is the bomb and she has a coach. And the reality is, to play at our top game, sometimes we do need someone to helicopter, as Tiffany shared, and just be able to look bird's eye view what's going on and help us find those blind spots, help us stay aligned, help us clear the clutter that is blocking us and all the things. There is no judgment in this space. There is no, oh, I thought you had it all together. I don't even act like I have it all together, to be honest with you. So there's none of that in this community. We are here just trying to remove the things that no longer serve us so we can really become all that God has for us. And that is on that. So I invite you to check out Pillar Mastery. Go to pillarmastery.com for more details. It is now a self-paced course, but there are some live bonuses that include the coaching and content immersion calls with me, our integration rooms during the next 12 weeks. So this is the time for you to jump in and really get locked in with the community. So go to pillarmastery.com. And until next time, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever feeling like you have to chase money. We'll talk to you later.